What do you think is more important, time or money? Or maybe we shouldn't separate these two resources, which are interchangeable. This is definitely true, because a person can convert money into time and time into money, depending on the level he is currently at. Usually, most poor people think that they lack money, although in fact, what they really lack is time. They need time to stop running like a squirrel in a wheel, to forget about all the difficulties and worries in their lives, and to think about it from the very beginning. I see how millions of people work like horses day after day, then run about their other affairs, fuss, try to survive, and life actually passes by. It is killed by this fuss and other types of senseless waste of precious time. When was the last time you, dear readers, thought about your life, when you analyzed it and drew conclusions about the correctness of your actions? This takes time, sometimes quite a lot, but you don't have it, do you? You have a lot of other things that seem very important to you, and if you manage to find free time, you spend it on pleasure, but not on thinking about everything and everyone. If you can't do something that other, more successful people can do, it's because you don't know something. But even understanding this takes time, even understanding that you don't understand many things. Money, of course, gives you the opportunity to buy time, but before buying it, you need to understand what you need it for, so as not to waste it in vain, but to skillfully use every moment in your life. Money is important, very important. We all understand this perfectly well. In my article entitled Money in a Person's Life, I analyze this topic. I analyze it thoroughly, but still money will be of secondary value for you if you have little of it. If you have little money, you don't need money, you need time. That's what you should pay attention to, because time will allow you to think about what you need to change in your life to solve the money problem. How to buy yourself time. Time can be bought, it costs money and it can be bought, but it is not expensive. In fact, you can buy yourself enough time for a small price, and not only to understand your life from the point of view of its correct conduct, but also for study. And in order to buy yourself time, you should simply stop being greedy. It is greed that requires the most money, and not an expensive life. And by the way, this is also necessary to understand, because when I speak about the wrong conduct of life, I do not mean the mistakes that people make, but the unconsciousness of making these mistakes, when they do not become lessons, but simply painfully prick a person, or stupidly lead him to a dead end in life from which he is unable to get out. Well, what do you need? Think carefully. Do you need all this show-off with expensive cars, phones, and other joys for a poor person? All this materiality takes you away from the main thing, from the value of time. But it is this that you sell in the form of your labor, just to buy another toy and impress the same poor people as you, believing that this junk will make you richer. In my article, Saving Money, I talk about how easy and simple it is to save money, just by giving up what you really do not need. And when you stop being greedy, when you do not have to want everything, you will discover an interesting thing for yourself. You do not have as little money as you thought. And therefore, you will not have to work too much, and the free time that you actually buy for yourself, you can use for a calm understanding of your life. What should you understand, you ask? What exactly is wrong with our life? What prevents us from living richly and happily? Do not mix one with the other, because money does not mean happiness at all. And you, dear readers, need to understand the following: money is not given by labor, it is given by the mind. The less intelligence you have, the more you work. The more intelligence you have, the less you have to work. Not only your productivity grows, but the type of activity itself begins to change. Suggest now that most workers change their job to a more profitable one or even go into business, so they will find a million reasons why they cannot do it. And if I can also give you a million reasons why you can do everything, will you listen to them? Will you follow my recommendations? I do not think so, because for this it is necessary to realize the need to change your life course, for which it is important to think about the current course, realize its meaninglessness, and only then decide on something fundamentally new. This is what you need time for, and if you don't have it, then buy it. Stop being greedy, refuse unnecessary junk. Use your time wisely. Many of you have plenty of time, probably even more than me, while the same cannot be said about money, although of course I don't know who exactly reads me. Nevertheless, I have eyes and I see how people, having a lot of time, completely free, spend it on all sorts of nonsense, and if they think about money, then only unrealistic adventures come to their minds. In my article, which is called Easy Money, I write about what kind of money it is, such easy money, which many people dream of, and in which it is so pleasant to believe. No, I do not deny that easy and fast money exists. It certainly takes place, but no one will ever offer it to you. In general, read the article, you will understand everything yourself. So, what else do you think about, my dear friends, besides all this nonsense about quick and easy wealth that can be achieved at the behest of a pike? I probably won't be wrong if I assume that there is nothing to think about. You are just having fun, or maybe you are asking yourself global questions that are not within your circle of influence. Politics is probably the most popular topic in this sense. Well, it could also be some kind of mysticism, the essence of the meaning of life, etc., while your refrigerator is empty, and on Monday morning you have to get up at dawn and go to a job that is not very pleasant for you. Please do not take this personally. I am only basing it on my own experience, stating these facts. After all, I had to teach many people a lesson in my time, and perhaps you fit the type of people I am describing. But to put it simply, how often do you spend your time studying the issue of money, in addition to reading this article, of course? That is, how often is your brain engaged in the primary task, and not in something that in principle could do without your attention? Here you have the productivity of using your time, often thinking about the main and necessary. In fact, it is not so easy. The brain switches to something simpler, or does not turn on at all. You want to live a full life, don't you, to get everything from life, and you cannot waste this precious time on such nasty things as money and everything connected with it. Do you have a lot of time? In fact, it is not so important how wisely you use your time, if you do not see problems in your life, and you are satisfied with the crumbs that you are paid. It is not scary if in old age you count on a pension that the state will pay you, if you are ready to count pennies in old age and live a limited life, or rather live out its end. It is much more frightening to understand all this absurdity, the absurdity of the life in which you depend on everything and everyone except yourself. It is frightening when you see how reactive you are, and you have less and less time to fix it. In my article entitled The Power of Money, I wrote about the power that money has, but I did not write about the power that time has, and this power, most of you, dear friends, overlook. I do not know how effective this article will be, and how many people it will encourage to rethink their lives, to take real action to change it for the better for themselves. Each head has its own cockroaches, but each of us wants to live a happy life. You can be happy without money, but you can be happy with money, and the second way seems more attractive to me. Of course, you have already taken a step towards solving money problems. You asked yourself a question and came across this article. I should praise you for this. And all you have to do now is start using your available time to the maximum advantage and start studying the issue related to money. This is not physics, chemistry, or mathematics. It is much easier to understand the science of money. You just have to start doing it, start studying money. My site is at your service. Literature on the topic of business, money, and life success is at your service. In the end, successful people are at your service. Study, think about this issue, devote all your free time to it, and it will return to you in many times greater quantity. I am not joking, it is really so, because judge for yourself, having learned to make money, you will buy yourself as much time as you want. And then think about the meaning of life and other philosophical questions that require your attention and time. I believe that money is not worth spending so much time on it as those who have very little of it spend on it, because it is simply impossible not to think about what your life depends on. Perhaps you should solve this issue once and for all, and no longer raise it to such a significant level for yourself, but use your time for more significant things and thoughts. Do not regret the lost time. Among you, my readers, there may be people of different ages, genders, views on life, you may have different levels of income, and so on and so forth. And I would like to ask you very much, taking into account the lines you have read above, do not regret anything, do not regret the past. No matter how old you are, whoever you are and what you want, you can start acting right now, and it will not be too late. I know how many dream of returning their years and living them differently, as some look back and see all the meaninglessness and stupidity of the life they have lived, but this is not so. There is meaning in everything, and you should not change anything. Yes, time has passed, but it was also a good time, wasn't it? Money is money, but there was life? Whatever questions you ask yourself, take at least the question of where to keep money, which I discuss in the article of the same name, or the question of how to earn this very money. All this is part of the game called life, in which someone knows how to snatch their piece, and someone can only pick up crumbs. By telling you that you need time to study more significant ways to earn money, I am not switching you over to money, and not suggesting that you devote more time to it than to everything else. I, my friends, suggest that you invest your time in money. In order to then buy a lot of time with money and not bother your head with it anymore. Family, children, beloved husband or wife, parents, good friends, in a word, people dear to you, these are the ones who deserve your attention first of all, and for their sake, you should think about money first of all. Think once, think well, then work in a really right direction and make yourself and your family wealthy. This is what you should do so that time and money never intersect in your life again. Maybe you will not become a millionaire, but you will definitely become a well-off person. This is within the power of anyone who will not hold a hoe from morning till night, dreaming of an increase in salary and pension, but will take responsibility and arrange his own life. You don't need 2 or 3 jobs, you don't need to work harder and harder to make ends meet. You just need to stop and think, find time and think about what you need to do, what you need to learn, to finally earn that damn money, and start living, not surviving.